Hello and welcome back to Naka Diaries. I don't have much of a plan for this video, so it's probably just going to be me rambling in my room for like 10 minutes. First off, I found a funny drink. I don't usually go to the convenience stores, I mostly shop at the supermarket, so when I'm there I'm kind of try to look for funny things, and I found this Ruby Choco Mint. Let's see if the camera will show that for us. Ruby Choco Mint drink. I assume like it's some sort of chocolate milk drink. Let's try it, shall we? And then all of these packagings are straw. Stick it in there. Poke. Cheers. Oh wow, that's quite nice. That is really nice actually. It's got this kind of sweet, minty taste with a very like full, round base of a chocolate milk drink. Wow, that is nice. Bought this one at the Family Mart just down the road, because earlier I had to go there and pay for a ticket. So, you know how I run off to concerts once in a while, or, well, you may not know much about that, I'm not sure how much I've talked about it, but you certainly saw my video from last week in which I showed all of the merchandise for the concert I went to in Tokyo. So I try to go to all of the concerts that I can, but it's just not very easy to get from way out here to all of them. So sometimes I'll have to make do with a live viewing, and well, for this one I'm going to do a live viewing in that one cinema in the entirety of Aomori Prefecture that does live viewings. So that'll be in... Actually, I've got a calendar up there, I can just look at that one. That will be in 2 weeks from now. So I'll still have to drive some 2 hours to get to the cinema, but certainly a lot more manageable than heading off to Tokyo where it happens. So I had to go there to Family Mart to pay for my ticket, and found this thing that I then bought because it looked nice. And it is quite nice. But yeah, the whole concert thing, going to concerts, I think that's kind of my idea of what I wanted to talk about. So I have been showing off merchandise. I have mentioned that I go to these concerts, but I figured maybe I should talk a little bit more about, I don't know, like my personal reasons for doing this, and like the entire thing, why did I even move to Japan in the first place? And actually, the time that I decided that I wanted to try and move to Japan was pretty much when I came back home from having been to my first Love Live concert. That was back in November 2018. So I've been kind of, well, I'm not really sure following it since then, but I got into the Love Live franchise around 2014 when the second season of the original School Idol Project anime was airing. And I mean, it was kind of nice, and I didn't really think more of it, but then as time went on, I started to get into more of the voice actresses behind them and started watching some of the live events. And the time where I really started paying attention to the live events was around the time that Muse, the original group from the original Love Live, had their final live in March of 2016. I had been following Sunshine, the second Love Live project, when that started up in 2015. I've been following that since the beginnings, throughout the entire, the well, you probably don't know since most of you would not know anything about this, but they did a whole voting thing, what's going to be the name of the group, and like introducing all of the characters. So I followed it pretty much since the beginning there, and that was also what caused me to kind of get into more of the voice actresses and the live performances of it. So around the time that Muse did their final live, that was kind of at the time where I started getting into it. But it is not very easy or convenient at all to go to these concerts if you do not live in Japan, simply because to get a ticket you need to participate in a lottery. And to participate in the lottery, you need codes which come with the merchandise. So for example, you buy a CD or you buy a Blu-ray, then there will be a little code that lets you participate in the lottery. But to use the code, you need an account on this Japanese ticketing website, which requires you to have a Japanese phone number. They also need a Japanese address, but you don't actually need to fill out that field, but you need the Japanese phone number. So I just figured, no, all too much effort to deal with that. And so in leading up to November 2018, at the concert that was going to be Aqua's 4th Love Live, they announced this foreigner package, or gaijin package as we call it, where you could only apply if you are a foreigner, if you live outside of Japan and you're not a Japanese national. So I was like, this is my chance. This is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I will go to this concert if I can. So I applied for the thing and managed to get tickets, and my work back home was kind enough to let me take some time off so that I could head off to it. And honestly, that was a life-changing experience, because it was by the time that I came home from that trip. It was just a week-long trip where I went to basically just that concert and did some sightseeing around the area. But when I came home, I started feeling a bit restless, I want to say. Like, I was getting kind of stuck in my daily routine back home and feeling like I wasn't really accomplishing much. And so I wanted to get out. I wanted to challenge myself, do something completely, but I won't say outside of my comfort zone, but something really big and kind of drastic. And that gave me the idea that I would want to move to Japan. They have these working holiday visas that would let you stay in Japan for a year and work part-time to support yourself. And you can apply for that up until you are 30 years old. So I figured it's about time. I'm reaching the end of the period of time where I can get this. So if I want to do this, it's got to be now. But also I didn't want to just move to Japan and eat through my savings without anything to do, really. And that's why I started looking for a proper job in Japan. Ruby Chocolate. So I think the time I really started looking for a proper job was then in January of 2019, so about a year ago by now. And well, there are not that many jobs that allow you to apply, or rather that will accept applications for people who are living outside of Japan. And the vast majority of those are jobs in teaching English, and most of those have the requirement that you are a native speaker of English, which I'm not. And even the ones that do not have that requirement will, of course, favor someone who's a native speaker, even if they might not necessarily be as good as someone who's not a native speaker. They will generally favor native speakers. And there's also, some of you may have heard of the JET program, as it's called, which is an exchange program that is actually initiated by the Japanese government, where they bring in foreigners, like native English speakers, to help teach English in schools in Japan. So you come in as an assistant language teacher, where you would then be in the classroom along with the Japanese English teacher, and you would be there as kind of a conversation partner, like a reason for them to actually speak Japanese a reason for them to speak English. But that program is not open for people from Denmark, so I couldn't do that. But anyway, I started looking for some jobs and applied for some of them, had a few interviews online, and eventually finally managed to get one, and then I moved here in August of 2019. So by this point in January 2020, I have been living here for close to half a year now. And well, you can kind of blame that on, or probably not blame is not the right word, but it is more or less due to Love Live, simply because when I went to that first concert, that impacted me so much. Like that really made me stop and think what I wanted to do. And so all of this merchandise, all of these things that I'm buying, that I have been showing off, like, look at how ridiculous I am. It's actually part of that, because it really does actually mean a lot to me. I also went to Aqua's 5th concert in June of 2019, so before I actually moved here. And now the one that I just went to last week, that you saw me talk about, or heard me talk about in my last video with all the merchandise, that was their special Love Live 9th anniversary thing. They called it Love Live Fest. And the point of that was they bring in everyone. And so there's the original group Muse that I mentioned. They brought those in. There's Aqua and Saint Snow from Love Live Sunshine, and then there's Nijigasaki. All of those, total 29 people, were there performing. And really what I got the most excited about was, and this would be the case for most of the people who went there, was Muse performing. Because, as I mentioned, that by the time that I started getting into these live concerts, that was at the time that Muse did their final live. So they had always had this like unreachable kind of mythic status for me. They were the original things, but I could never actually get near that. So when I got the opportunity to go to Love Live Fest here, I was really excited for that, and I will say going to that concert was the most impactful of all of the concerts I've gone to here. Yes, I know that I just said that one of them caused me to actually want to move to Japan, but the one that actually hit me the strongest emotionally, that was this one, because finally I was able to actually see Muse that had always been these unreachable things. So for me it was pretty much like, and okay, I'm going into some details about the anime here, but in the Sunshine anime, Aqua kind of looks up to Muse, and they are this unreachable goal that they're aiming for. And it kind of felt the same way for me here, that I could never actually get to do this, but then I finally got the opportunity, and it was everything I had ever hoped for and more. And it was like on the first day, they saved Muse for last. They did like 18 songs or something before they even brought out Muse, and people were of course massively engaged and high spirits and cheering and everything. But by the time Muse came on stage, no, before that, by the time that they started playing the theme of the original School Idol project and started showing the introductions for Muse, it was just like everything up to then had just been the warm-ups. That's when the real deal started. People went absolutely crazy. I was in the stands on that day and they were shaking. People were just getting super excited, really into it. Like the mood in there, the atmosphere, that was so intense. And I was in the third row of the stands, which means that when they do the songs where they go on carts through the audience, I was right there, like 3 rows away from them, and you know, I kind of have talked about that I kind of stand out from the crowd in Japan, so being right there, kind of standing out, basically being able to reach out and touch the carts as they went by, that was a really, really powerful experience. And at one point, again, because I do stand out a little bit, I'm fairly certain I made eye contact with them as they were moving past, a few of them certainly, and that really moved me. And it was interesting because then I also went to the second day, and for the first part of it I was kind of feeling, this is kind of, I know what's going to happen. Like, of course they changed around some things between the first and the second days, but I kind of knew what was going to happen. Like, I knew they were going to change out these songs for these other songs. I knew that kind of everything was going to go this way, but then they changed around the order. They brought out Muse before Aqua, and like from that moment, I wasn't crying, but I was definitely in tears. Like, so moved. It was just, I can't describe it, and it sounds maybe a little bit silly, like I'm there at a concert, why are you just standing around crying? But it was a really, really powerful and really moving experience for me, and that's also kind of why I wanted to share it, because I haven't really done any of these like personal stories, like just talking here. And also, as you will notice, I'm not doing any cuts, any editing. I don't have any, as I said to begin with, I don't have any plans. I'm just talking, I'm just rambling, because I want to get this raw, unfiltered talk out to you guys. And of course I've had the week since I came home to kind of process it, and that's why I can talk about it more rationally. But it was really, really strongly moving, so that was a really great experience for me. This one's still really good. Yeah, anyway, I think I should kind of get to an ending of this entire massive rambling here. Also, because as you can see, I'm in my tatami room. It's still not heated, so it's really quite cold in here. I will just say, I just mentioned that in 2 weeks I'm going to a live viewing of another concert. Then 2 weeks after that I'm going to actually attend a concert, and you may remember a while back I saw you, good job with the grammar there. I showed you and you saw that I had purchased a whole bunch of CDs, and those were to get codes to participate in the lottery to go to this one concert, and that's happening in about 4 weeks. I think it's 4 weeks from now. Let's look at my calendar again. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, yes. And I'll be going off to Fukuoka for that, which is, you know, if you got the banana shape of Japan here, then Aomori, where I am, is way up here. Fukuoka is way down there, so it's pretty much as far away as I can go. But the Monday after that weekend is a holiday, so I can just exactly make it work. And the reason I went all in on the CDs is because through the pre-registration from the fan club, I had already had a ticket for day 1. So I just figured, if I am already going to Fukuoka for this, I may as well go all in to also get day 2. That's why I bought all the CDs, and I did get a ticket for day 2 there. Actually, the code that won was not one of my own, it was one that I had received from one of my online friends that I also met up with at the fest last weekend here. But, you know, having 11 codes running on that there was what caused me to win. It didn't really matter which of the codes would win. So I'm going there, and hopefully I can get a live viewing of the other one that then happens 2 weeks after that. All of these upcoming ones are not for the full group, they are for like the subunits, so only 3 performers for each of them. And that's why there are 3 separate concerts with just 2 weeks in between each of them. So hopefully I can get a live viewing for the other one as well. Yeah, anyway, I just wanted to take this moment and just talk a lot, partially because I didn't really have any better ideas for a video, but also partially because I did actually kind of want to just expose myself entirely. Kind of. So, yeah. If you have actually watched for this long, thank you. Like, it actually means a lot to me that you are actually taking the time to watch these. And just the few likes and comments that I get once in a while, they're actually really nice to have. It just means a lot to me to actually know that there's someone who appreciates what I'm doing here, so that I'm not just sitting here talking to a camera. But yeah, thank you for watching this far, if you have, and if you haven't watched so far, well, you won't hear this, but thank you anyway. And I will see you at some indeterminate point in the future, maybe with other fun drinks or eating things. Food, snacks, whatever. Bye. Swoosh.